Hello, hello. I hope you're all well. Sorry about my little tests earlier. I know that Facebook have been changing things up and some of my fellow demos have been struggling to make their Facebook Lives work correctly. So I thought it wouldn't hurt just to do a little bit of testing in advance. And then the sound was weird. But I think the sound has been fixed now. Hey Karen, please let me know if there are any sound problems. I think I fixed them. But if I haven't, then I'll go back and I'll re-look at it, and I've got a different microphone that I can be using if needed. So I hope you're well. I hope you are happy and having a good week. We are very much in retreat prep because it's not this weekend but next weekend. It's exciting. The deadline for that has now closed, so if you didn't secure a place, then I'm afraid you'll have to come to us next time. Thank you for letting me know, Karen. I really appreciate that. So hopefully the sound will stay okay throughout tonight's live. I have got a lovely little project with you. This was a request from friends of mine who I often craft with. They wanted to know how to do a shadow box frame, so I thought that would be a fun project to do tonight. So let me flick round and show you what we're going to be making and how you make it. Oh, and let's put the lights on because it's dark and dreary and unlikely to get any better anytime soon. Right, so this is the little box frame. Now you'll see I'm kind of holding it together. I haven't glued it down because I want to show you. I'm going to take this one apart to show you how we make it, and then I'm going to make another one from scratch. But this is the little box frame which you can make out of a single sheet of A4 card, and I've put a little square in the centre and I'm going to stamp something on it. But it's very easy to make. As I say, I haven't glued this one down, but I'm going to show you kind of like the template piece that we're going to be aiming for. So that's just a little piece of card. I'm going to stamp on that and have something pretty there. And then you've got this. So this is the shape that we're going for. And let me show you how to make it. So all you'll need is your trimmer and a sheet of A4 cardstock. I'm using Old Olive this time because of what I'm going to put inside my little frame, and that will all make sense in a minute. So I'm going to trim my cardstock down to 21 centimetres. So I have a square that is 21 by 21. Very easy. Next, I am going to close that over, and I'm going to be using my scoring blade here. Now, the amount that you score will determine how wide your border is. Now, at first, I was going to do it at 1 centimetre, but actually I think 1 centimetre is too small. So this is 1.5 centimetres. It gives a nice shape. Now, it does give a very teeny tiny frame. If you were to use a smaller sides of the frame, then it would be slightly larger, but these bits would be narrower. It'll make more sense once I start doing it. I'm going to start up at the top here, and I'm going to take it to the 1.5 centimetre mark, and I'm going to score. Then I'm going to take it again to the 3 centimetre mark, and I'm going to score. Then I'm going to turn the whole thing around, and I'm going to put it into 4.5 centimetres and score, and then take it down to 6 centimetres and score. So I have got 4 score lines there. Hey girls. And I'm going to do exactly the same up at the other side. So I'm going to put it in, score at 1.5. Then I'm scoring at 3. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to score at 4.5 and at 6. And so you can see I've got score lines. Hopefully you can see them at that end and at the other end. And then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and I'm going to do the same again. Now, as I was doing this the first time, it occurred to me that I could even speed this up even faster. So that's 1.5, and that's 3. And then if I move it all the way up, take it to 4.5 and 6. So that means I've basically done half at the top, half at the bottom. I still need to turn it around and do the same. So scoring at 1.5 and at 3. And then from the other side, take it to 4.5 and it's 6. And so now I have a square that has 4 score lines on each of the 4 sides that all measure 1.5 centimetres. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, all the way around on all 4. We're not finished scoring yet, because if you think about the shape we're looking for, we have these 4 score lines there, which is fine, and we have these 4 score lines, but we've got this weird little cutout bit. Hey Linda, don't worry, you haven't missed much, and you can watch it again on replay if you need to. So what you're going to do, in order to get that cutout bit right, you need to do a couple more score lines. So I'm going to put this back in, and I'm going to take it down. Instead of taking it to 6, I'm going to take it to 7.5. And I'm going to take my score bit. Now, I'm not scoring right the way along. I'm going to score just the top 2 squares. Okay? So it's at 7.5. I'm using my scoring blade, and I'm taking it from this point here, and I'm scoring out the way. And then I'm going to do exactly the same over the other side. I'm going to start in the middle of my score lines. I'm going to go out the way. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that extra little one that just goes part way on both sides. And I've done it at this bit. I'm now going to do it on the other side as well. So let's turn it around, put it into 7.5 centimetres. Start my scoring tool in the centre of those 4 and go out the way. And then from here, again at the other side, from the centre, and go out the way. So that's what I've got. So I've got the 4 and 4 all the way around, but this little bit, I've just got 2 extra ones and 2 extra ones. Okay, next I'm going to start cutting. So I'm going to again put it back in, and I'm going to take it to, make sure I get this right. So the little ones that I've just done, I'm going to have facing away from me, and I'm going to slice. So I'm going to slice along this score line here, which I've put in. In fact, you know what, let's measure it. Let's just do it right. Take it to 6 centimetres. Start at that corner bit that's right in the point right at the corner, and go out the way. And then again on this one, go out the way. Turn it around, put it back into 6 centimetres. In that corner piece there, and go out. Then the same at the other side, in that corner, and go out. Okay, so now I have these pieces that are cut right the way along. With my scissors, so that tiny little just extra bit of 2, I'm just going to cut that with my scissors. Then I'm going to cut a diagonal, and I'm going from that point there that I just did to that point there. Believe me, once you've done it once, you'll be able to do it with your eyes shut. Although please don't cut with your eyes shut, because scissors, very sharp. And you know what I say, blood is the wrong shade of red to go with this project. So again from the other side, just that little 2 that we did, a diagonal, out the way, and then into the corner. So you end up with a piece that looks like that. Let's do exactly the same at the other side. So my little scoring that's just into 2, let's do that into that middle one, the diagonal, out, and then scissors up to the top, and then same at the other side. Diagonal and into the middle. Right, you still with me? Has that been okay to follow? You still see what I'm doing? Let me take my bone folder and start scoring through these lines. So you're basically just going to score across every single one of these score lines that you've done, going round all 4 sides. I am sorry you missed the start, Linda. I know I'm not known for starting bang on time, but as I was saying at the start of the video, I was testing out my microphone and my video settings to make sure that they were all working correctly. Right, once you've done all your score lines, so the 2 just rectangular flaps rather than the cutout flaps, these ones, if you just fold them in, you'll see how it works. So these ones fold in like that, and then these ones just curl in and fold in like so. We're going to glue it in a minute, but we're going to do some stamping first to create this little shadow box frame, which is really cute. So before we stick it down, as I say, we're going to do some stamping. So I've cut just a piece of very vanilla that is, I think it's 9 centimeters, 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters, and that will fit in the center. But I want to do some stamping on it first. So the one that I had in mind was the Softly Sophisticated set, and I thought I would use these flowers and stems, which I thought were really pretty. So let's pull these out. Just put that there. Gonna get the flowers at the same time. Put them on a different set. And then I've got my Old Olive ink to match my Old Olive cardstock. There we go. Let's do that. Here. I was inspired to do this one by the new kit which has just come out. Mine hasn't arrived yet, or I would have shown it to you tonight. But there is a new kit that's come out which has got like picture frames and plants and stuff in them. So that's why I thought I would go with this. By the way, before I've inked this one up, I've just lined it up so that I know where I'm going with it. You've got these 2 flowers, which are nice and easy, but then you've got this tiny little bud. And if you look on the leaves, there's this little bit where the bud is clearly supposed to go. So by just positioning it first, I kind of know where I'm going with it before I put the ink on. I find it's easier that way. And you know me, I do like an easy life. I don't always get one, but I do like an easy life. Up there like that. That's quite pretty. Right, so now we're going to start to glue all this stuff together. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue my very vanilla stamped square into the center of my frame. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly aligned, because the edges are going to be covered up anyway by the outer part of the frame, but that's basically how I want to do it. The first bit you want to stick down are these long rectangular pieces. They need to go down first. Oh goodness, I'm getting glue absolutely everywhere. Now, the easiest way to do this is to fold it in half and then fold it over fully. And the piece of glue that you're going to put on is just that final end bit. So given that I've managed to get Tombow all over my glass mat, let's just use that. The joys of a glass mat. There we go. So I folded it in half, and now I'm going to fold it over completely, and I'm just going to rub that down with my finger, get it nice and firm, and then it will pop up nicely like that. Oh, I like this. So same at the other side, so fold it in half first. Just check that it'll fold over completely, and it will. More Tombow. You could use tear tape or red tape or Seal Plus for this if you wanted to. I'm using my trusty Tombow. So I'm going to fold that one over completely, rub it down, and then you'll see it folds up like that. So the next piece we're doing are folding in these sides. So for these ones, you want to put glue along this piece, but you also just want to put a touch of glue in each of these corners, because that's where these diagonal pieces are going to just sit in place like that. So as before, fold it in half first and put your glue on there, and then just a touch of glue in each of those corners. And then this piece, and you fold it over and hold these pieces in so that it stays down as well. This is why I like using Tombow, because it's very forgiving. You can move things around as needed. There we go. Hold that in place. There we go. And then exactly the same as the other side. So glue down that bottom panel, touches of glue just in these outer corners to hold down the diagonal bit, and fold it in. There we go. Fold it in, hold it down, just let it all stick together. Ta-da! And then there you've got this little shadow box frame with a little stamped image inside. So before I finish, I'm just going to do the other one. So I've drawn you that template before, and I have cut another one of these. So let's just do the same stamping again, because then they can be a pair to go together. Let's just stamp this one on the center like that. And then the poppy. What do you think? Is this the sort of frame that you would try? Hi, Shona. I realise we've not spent a huge amount of time, so it has been much quicker than I thought it was going to be, but hopefully it's been something you've enjoyed watching. Let's just line this up. Maybe you've done these before and it's nothing new to you. I'd seen them before, but I'd never tried them myself. I suppose we've got loads of time. I could try doing one with a slightly different width of frame around the edges to see what it looks like. Do you want to see it done in a slightly different size? If you're bored, then I won't. But if it's something you might find interesting, I am happy to give it a shot. Let's fold over the edges as before. So there, and then fold it all the way down. I just thought the old olive and the poppy parade worked well for this stamp. They look almost like poppies to me. The leaves probably aren't very poppyish, but the flowers seemed very poppy-like to me. You would like to see it, Karen. Thank you. I will do it with a different size outer frame then to see what that looks like. Let's just finish sticking this down. So glue on that bottom bit, and then in those corners just to hold that in place. The glue shows up really nicely on the coloured cards, so hopefully you can see how that's all meant to work. Click that all the way in. Hold it in place. Just hold it together until the glue sets. And same on the other side. Do you have a preference for the colour for the other one? I mean, my preferences are always blues and purples, and I've just done a red one and a green one. So if anybody's got a colour preference for the next one, speak up. Say what colour you would like me to do it in. Because if you don't, you know it's going to be a blue or a purple. Maybe you're happy with blue or purple. Purple. There we go, Linda. Thank you. Lady after my own heart. Let's do it in some gorgeous grape then. There you go. So those are our two little shadow frames in the Old Olive and the Poppy Parade. Let's get some gorgeous grape going. So, as before, we're going to start off by trimming it to 21 because I do want a frame, I do want a square frame. You could do it rectangular, but to be honest, I haven't worked out the measurements for that. So we're just going to stick with square ones for just now. And this time, let's do it at the 1 centimetre. So I told you before I did it at 1.5. Let's try it at 1 and see how much of a difference that makes. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn it around, do it again. 1. You can use a scoreboard for this if you prefer. My scoreboard is there. I don't use it as much as I probably could, but my trimmer is just so handy. Oops, don't forget the 4 at the other side. You do want to make sure that your lines are perfectly the right size, because if they're not, then your frame on the outer isn't going to work. So whether you do it as 1 centimetre or 1.5, or if you decide to do inches or whatever size you're doing it, you just need to make sure that they're all identical. So and make sure you remember to score each time and not accidentally cut, because then it really won't work. Ask me how I know. Right, so I've done the 4 all the way around, but I still need to do that tiny little one. So I'm going to take it to 5 centimetres and just in that centre and out to do those extra 2 squares, and then the same at the other side. And then I'll turn it around, do the same as before. So they're all just... Oh, thank you, Alison. I always think of you when I see poppies, because you did a beautiful piece of artwork with poppies once that I've never forgotten. Oh, forgot, put the trimmer away too quickly. So I am cutting along at 4 centimetres, cutting along here. And here, and then the same at the other side. 4 centimetres, cutting along the corners. There we go. So I've got my long bits on either side. Then let's switch to my scissors, and I'm cutting just those 2 tiny little bits up here. Then do the diagonal out the way to the corner, and then just that last piece there. And then the same on all 4 corners. To be fair, I thought 1 centimetre would be too small, but actually it looks quite nice. Just gives a different look, doesn't it? Ooh, and I've just had a nice idea. Linda, you're a genius suggesting purple. You didn't know it at the time, but you have queued things up for something that could look really nice. So let me find the lavender papers. Now, there's a particular one I was looking for. This is a partial pack, so this might not actually work. I wonder if this would work. It's too small. Do I have another full pack? I don't. Do you know what? I'll try it anyway. I'll try it just with this piece here. So that center panel that I've got is 13 centimeters. So I'm going to cut a shape that is 12 centimeters. And I'm deliberately cutting this bit because I want this kind of paler piece up at the top. So let's cut 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters. And let's just very quickly grab my perennial lavender stamp set. So I grabbed the perennial lavender stamp set, but it doesn't have a sentiment in it. And I do want a sentiment, so I've gone for the perennial postage, which is from that same bundle. And they've got some beautiful sentiments. And I'm thinking, let's see, Your Love Beyond Measure. Along the top there. I think that could work. Let's get my clear block. Will that one be long enough? It will if I do it diagonally. Can't possibly go wrong. Just going to stamp on a scrap of paper to make sure that I've got it aligned the way I want it to be, and it's not like accidentally upside down or something. Yep, that looks good. Put that there. There we go. You are loved beyond measure. So before I stick it down, okay, stuff everywhere here. Let's just fold over all my edges first. Draw my score lines. Go. Next, I'm going to stick down my DSP into the center of my shadow frame. Now, this is going to look weird. I am sticking it down slightly squint, but that's because my sentiment is slightly squint. And if I do it this way, it won't be squint anymore. And you won't be able to tell because the edges will be hidden underneath the frames. So don't worry if that looks squint. It's actually not. I'm correcting the squint. Okay, so you do the rectangular pieces first. Remember, easiest way to do it is to fold it in half and then in half again. So let's do it in half first, and then let's get my Tombow over there, fold that in half completely down. There we go. Let's do the same at the other side. There, and then fold it completely over, down nice and firm. You see how this frame, it's a lot more narrow round the edge, and as a result the inner box is much bigger compared to the other one. Next, let's make sure that that all folds in and works nicely, and it does. So let's, it's a fine line. You want to be generous enough with the Tombow that it holds it in place, but you don't want it splurging everywhere. Don't forget those little bits just on the corners to help hold the diagonals in place. And then fold this in and round. There you go. You might notice when I'm doing that, I'm kind of pushing in those two corners just so that they hold everything in place. The beauty of Tombow, of course, is that it dries clear, although I have kind of stuck it to my fingers. But there we go. And then let's do that final edge. And corners. And fold it all in. Hold that down, glue it in place. And you can do this with any DSP you've got. Just pick a DSP that matches your card, or pick a card that matches your DSP. There you go. You are loved beyond measure in a little box frame. Now you can see both frames started with the same piece of cardstock, 21 by 21. But having a wider frame will give you having a wider edge will give you a smaller frame, and having a narrower edge will give you a larger frame. And you see we did that one as well. So what's your preference? Do you like the teeny ones with the wider frame? Do you like the larger ones with a thinner frame? I can't decide which one I like best now. I think they both work. I like putting the DSP in there with the stamped sentiment on the top. That's all down to Linda. She gave me that inspiration and idea because she picked purple. But I think the stamped ones worked really well as well. Cool. All right, so that is us for this evening. I hope you have enjoyed tonight's Facebook Live. Next week I will have the latest kit to show you, and we'll show that one off to you on the Facebook Live, which again is frames with things inside it, but you don't have to make the frames this time, you just put them all together. As always, if you've got any questions, please do get in touch. Thank you for joining me this evening, and yeah, have a good week. Happy crafting. Bye.